Good afternoon all and welcome to the Carlam Cymru revision sessions. This afternoon session will be focused on Spanish AS with Miss Larderi from Penglai School in Aberystwyth. The session will be recorded and the recording and any resources will be shared and uploaded onto the e-sgol website within the Carlam Cymru section. If you have any questions during the presentation, please use the question and answer section and we'll endeavour to try to answer them as soon as possible. Good, diolch yn fawr, thank you so much. Over to you, Miss.
Thank you. Good evening, buenas tardes, todo el mundo. Vamos a hablar un poco de español. We're going to go today, we're going to discuss the speaking. I'm sure that you're all starting to prepare for your exam. So we're going to have a look and see what is expected in an oral task. If you do have any questions, please write them so that we can make this as specific as possible. As you can see in here, just put a link on the GCE adaptations for the summer 2022 for WJC. And as you may know, you should know that the first task, the argument task, has been removed. So let's have a look in detail at what is expected from you. So during the speaking assessment, candidates will be expected to employ the following skills. And we got a list here. So use language spontaneously. There's a key information to initiate communication. So you are really required to make sure that you are communicating in a spontaneous manner. So the main thing is that you speak. So I believe that for many of you probably feels difficult to maintain the communication, but it's important that you maintain that level of communication. So ask and answer questions. Express your thoughts and feelings, present viewpoints, develop your arguments, persuade, analyze, evaluate in speech, including interaction or speaking of the language. There's going to be a dialogue. That's the key thing. So you're going to have your card, the 3 questions, and really you want to have a conversation with your examiner, so with your teacher in this case, that is going to be recorded. So that is one of the elements that is analyzed. Then you're gonna be evaluated on your knowledge of pronunciation, morphology, syntax, vocabulary, and idioms to communicate accurately and coherently using a range of expressions. So you really want to showcase what you know. You want to showcase your pronunciation if that's one of your strengths. Some of you may be mother tongue, so it's important that that you showcase your pronunciation, but your pronunciation doesn't need to be perfect for you to be able to communicate accurately and coherently. This means that your message is clear, that you're showcasing your vocabulary, your idioms, the ones that you know, and that you try to use a range of expressions so that you don't just rely on a few, but to get the top of your marks, you really want to show what you know. That you want to show as well that you can use your language learning skills and strategies, including communication strategies such as adjusting a message, circumlocution, self-correction, and repair strategies. So you might have a thought in your head that it's in English and you're struggling to express this in Spanish. Say it with other words. Circumlocution. If you do make a mistake, don't stop, just carry on. Yeah, maybe self-correct yourself. So show that you can continue developing that communication. You can ask a question yourself. Yeah, so you can say if you if your examiner, which should be your teacher in this case, say something that you disagree with, you can say you disagree. It's your own thoughts and your feelings. So I just wanted to share the marking scheme here. As you can see, you will be assessed on 4 different aspects. So the first aspect, you're gonna be given a mark from, so the bottom goes from 0 to a maximum of 4 marks. That is to understand your first learning objectives, understand and respond in speech to spoken language, including face-to-face interaction. So that's your conversation. When you listen to a question in Spanish, are you able to answer? So as you can see, so your examiner will be from 0 to 4. 0 is when you say nothing. You really don't answer the question at all, or you answer with something that is completely irrelevant to what has been asked. In the first band is a limited response when answering questions. So you may be struggling with the answer and you're not really establishing a meaningful exchange. You might relying a little bit too much on prompt, and there is a small range, a limited range of ideas and opinions. If you go to top the higher band, so you get 2 marks, is there is some hesitation when you're answering the questions, and says answer generally lack depth. So you're not going too much in detail in what has been asked to you. You try to make interaction, but there is a prompt required by the teacher. You can, however, express some opinions and ideas. So remember that the more you lead in this interaction, yeah, so the less prompting you need, the higher is going to be your mark. And also you can decide where the conversation is going. You can control the conversation. To get to the top marks, for instance, you get 3 marks if most questions are answered clearly and some are answered in detail. To get to the top, you answer clearly and comprehensively all the questions. So that means that your message is clear. You go to the point of what is asked to you, and you are answering from different angles. So this could be that you may be able to see 2 sides of an issue, of a subject. So it could be, por un lado, me parece importante decir que, por ejemplo, por otro lado, so you're giving a balanced view. To get to the top mark, the interaction and spontaneity is rewarded. So try to, if you're nervous about the oral, I'm sure that many people are, try to relax and ease into the conversation, practice the conversation. So it really should be a discussion. And try to express your wide range of thoughts, feelings, and viewpoints. Okay, and not so. This is part of the requirements. Then you're required to understand and respond in speech to written language drawn from a variety of sources. So that is your prompt card that you can read before you initiate the discussion. Do you understanding? You will have some time to prepare, so make sure that you understand clearly what is the similar material. Make notes on it, and how can you demonstrate that you understand it? So you need to give responses that are referring perhaps to the text, to the evidence. This could be, you could quote the text, say according to the text. Segundo lo que dice el texto, so you want to develop your answers from this. Then part of your marks is going to be given by how accurately are you able to communicate. Is your grammar sound? Can you communicate using different idiomatic phrases? Can you use a variety of structures? That could be your tenses. You might want to be able to showcase that you can use the present, the past, the conditional tense, the subjunctive tense, and is your intonation and pronunciation convincing? Do you sound Spanish? You don't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be convincing. Okay, and finally, you want to showcase that you understand, you have some knowledge of different aspects of the culture and the society where Spanish is spoken. That could be Spain, but it could be other Spanish-speaking countries. That could be Latin America. That could be Argentina, Chile. So what do you know about these places? And have you got evidence, some evidence to support your ideas and your point of view? So you can have, if you need to pause, you can have a look on the mark and can familiarize yourself with that. And maybe if you are practicing, try to understand in which band are you currently in. So which band are you in, and where would you like to be? Okay, so there is quite a few resources in the WJC website, and I think it's worthwhile having a look at what is given there, and make sure that you familiarize yourself. I think that for the speaking, these level knowledge organizers are quite useful. So as a collection of sample knowledge organizer to support the learning of A-level Spanish, could be used for revision, a starting point for creating your own language organizer. So use them to create your mind maps. I actually am gonna click on this resource. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay, there we go. There we go. So I'm just gonna click on this resource. If you click on the link, will bring you here, and you can download all these files. So if you just click on those ones and download them, maybe print them. So I'm gonna start just downloading 1 or 2. So we got this one: family structures, values, and relationships. Maybe let's add another one. That could be, let's say, youth trends, issues, and personal identity. But I really would suggest to download all of them and print them. Mainly make notes of them, use them. And so just 1 second, let's go back to the presentation. So if you need to pause here, maybe just pause and make sure you download all these files at this website. So let's have a look at one of those in detail. Okay. Sorry. Let's have a look at one of those in detail. So as you can see, you got on the right-hand side, just going to get the laser pen again. Actually, let's do an highlighter. Okay, on the right-hand side, you got your opiniones. So, just 1 second. Okay, so you got your opiniones. Creo que, opino que, pienso que, a mi modo de ver, en mi opinión, me parece, es verdad que, por un lado, por otro lado. So make sure that you always strive to give the two sides of an argument. And you got some opiniones that can use the subjuntivo. So really you want to try to use those to showcase that you can use your subjunctives. No creo que sea tan importante. No pienso que sea fundamental. Es imposible que eso siga pasando. Es necesario que los gobiernos implementen unas soluciones, encuentren soluciones. Dudo que, I don't think that, dudo que esa pueda ser una solución. So you got as well, to help you out, some vocabulary that is relevant to the topic and that maybe you can use to create your own revision cards. So, and you got some questions as well, some preguntas. So let's have a look at some of those preguntas. The first one is, ¿cómo y por qué ha cambiado la familia tradicional en España? How and why the traditional family has changed in España. So really what you want to do is to use some of the key vocabulary. So you can say, for instance, la familia tradicional en España ha cambiado mucho. De hecho, actualmente se encuentran diferentes tipos de familia. The familias, and you can list them. ¿Qué tipos de familias hay hoy en España? La familia monoparental, la familia homoparental. ¿Cómo ha cambiado? Por ejemplo, ahora mismo hay la oportunidad de divorciar. So how did it change the traditional family? You could say that la familia tradicional ya no es el tipo de familia normal en España. Hay muchos tipos de familias, and carry on. ¿Por qué? Why has it changed? Explica la diversidad de familia que existen en España hoy en día. So, ¿cómo se apoya a las familias españolas monoparentales? How the society supports monoparental families. Have they got the same opportunities as others, families with only one parent? Are there any prejuicios in the society? Are they seen differently? Are they seen differently from los vecinos, from the neighborhood, or for el barrio, the neighbors, or el barrio? ¿Cuál es el papel de los abuelos españoles actualmente? What is the role? ¿Cuál es el papel of grandparents actualmente en España? So you got some keywords in here. You're going to use them. El envejecimiento, el envejecer, la importancia de los abuelos. How can they help? You could argue que los abuelos son muy importantes en la familia española porque a menudo ayudan las familias a cuidar de los niños. So they're very important because they help families to look after kids. Por otro lado, es importante destacar que muy a menudo los abuelos viven solo, sin familia, porque sus hijos trabajan mucho. So you could argue on the other side that grandparents often live on their own because their kids work a lot. So develop your point of view. And here you got some of the elements of how to develop, how to improve your answers. Desarrolla tus ideas, so develop your opinion. Desarrolla tus opiniones, so develop your opinions as well. Explain them, change the vocabulary that you use. Try to use more complex grammatical structures. So you got quite a few questions in here. ¿Por qué el gobierno español intenta aumentar la tasa de natalidad? Why does the Spanish government try to increase the number of newborns? Why do they do that? So that is why it is important first and to try to read a little bit more on the topics, maybe read on the resources that you might have used during the year, but also some websites like newspapers and so on. ¿Qué son los valores más importantes en España hoy en día? What are the most important values in Spain nowadays? What are your views about los jóvenes españoles? How can they contribute to society? What are your views about el medio ambiente, the environment? Is that important para los jóvenes españoles? What do they do to protect it? So really, you want to showcase that you can develop your ideas on different sides of the topics. Some others could be how did the relationship in between mujeres y hombres han cambiado? What are your views, for instance, sobre el divorcio o divorciarse? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about la convivencia? Why is it important or is it not? One of the questions could be muchos jóvenes españoles hoy en día prefieren la convivencia al matrimonio. ¿Qué opinas? ¿Qué opinas de la convivencia? So what is your point of view? ¿Piensas que sea importante vivir juntos antes de casarse? ¿Por qué? ¿Es que el matrimonio ya no va de moda? Porque los españoles, los jóvenes españoles prefieren convivir, por ejemplo. ¿Cuáles son vuestras opiniones sobre el matrimonio gay, el matrimonio religioso, el matrimonio civil? Do you think that it's still important to marry with a religious ritual, a religious marriage or ceremony or not? Whatever of your views is not right or wrong. What is important is that you are able to develop your point of view and give a balanced view, understanding and showcasing that you are aware of other people's point of view as well, and you can give a conclusion ideally based on evidence. Again, ideas and point of views are well supported by evidence. This could be something that you read he leído en un artículo del Mundo que hoy en día en España es permitido casarse entre dos mujeres o dos hombres, for instance. So you read something and you saying what you've read. So make sure that you practice on that. So some ideas would be use mind maps and use flashcards. So for instance, you could create, I would suggest to create one flashcard for each one of these questions. If you want, you can pause here, get some flashcards, or create them yourselves if you don't have one. If you don't have pre-made ones, just tear aside some pieces of paper and create a few. On one side, you can put the question. On the other side, develop the answer. Make sure that in your answer, you are giving your opinions and perhaps different sides of the subject. Okay, so I would really suggest, I think flashcards are a wonderful tool to practice and would allow you to practice as well with somebody that doesn't necessarily speak the language. Some of you would be lucky enough to have somebody to practice that maybe is a language expert. Some of you won't be able to practice with somebody that is language expert. So maybe support the people that are willing to help you. Give them the flashcards. On one side, they have the questions. All they need to do is read it to you, and you can answer that question. So that is one idea. Create your mind maps. Really, you can use these ones to create your own mind maps and take notes on those. So how can you take notes? ¿Cómo tomar apuntes? Títulos. Resalta el título de tu clase, utiliza colores llamativos. So try to make sure that you can use these mind maps with something that comes straight away, that is visual. Subtítulos, so use burbujas, so speech bubbles. Use diagrammas. Anota tu opiniones, tu ideas, tu pensamientos. So they might be useful. I would say use highlighters, use colors, but main thing is that you find the time to practice. So to practice, you can also use past papers. There is a range of past papers that are available as well on the website. So just 1 second. I'm just gonna bring you to the website. There we go. So if you click here, yes, A-level Spanish, you will have a range of past papers. So just 1 second. Show what happened. Sorry, just I'm gonna try to get back to. So again, there we go. So if you go. On this website, you got quite a few past papers. So I'm just gonna go to here again. So that's the WJC website, and you can filter all types. I'm going to put past papers. I put all series and all years. So you need to look for Unit 1, which is your oral, so you're speaking. There is no Unit 1 in here, so let's see in 2018. And there you go, you got Unit 1. Remember that Pack A is not going to be assessed this summer again, so you don't need to download this one. Go straight to Pack B. So I'm going to develop this one. So you got quite a few exam papers to see. Okay, so we're going to see some of those examples. So I put here one example, but you can use the same one, the same download that I just put. So let's have a look at some of those examples. So it says, so this is from 2018. You'll be asked to choose stimulus cards. Well, this is not relevant anymore. Okay, so you're not doing the stimulus cards anymore. So I'm gonna cross this out from set A. Okay, but you are going to do the card from set B. Okay, so it's not relevant to this part where it says you choose, you choose 2 cards from set A, so this is not happening anymore. You would choose 1 card unseen from set B from a total of 6, okay, and that is still relevant. You will be allowed a period of 15 minutes to prepare the 2 cards, so it's only 1 card. You'll be able to make brief notes on a separate piece of paper, but not on the cards. So make sure that you're making use of this time to make notes on the piece of paper during the preparation period from the stimulus card. The notes must be handed to the examiner at the end of the test. The notes are a memory aid only and may not constitute all sentences or a continuous text or script. So again, you want to use things like this one, where you got what kind of topics are you going to discuss? What kind of keywords are you going to use? So make sure that you do this, that you create this cards. Cards from set B will contain a short text and 3 questions for you to prepare. Set B cards are based on the theme of being a young person in Spanish and the speaking society. So again, would be your family, peer group. It could be problems of the teenagers, alcohol, drugs. What are your points of view? What about the dressing, fashion? So let's have a look at some of those cards. Again, task 2 is 24 marks. So you'll have a maximum of 24. So the first one says, be a young person in Spanish, and the spin part. The first thing you need to do is read the text. So lee el siguiente texto sobre el matrimonio, about marriage. El examinador o la examinadora te pedirá que contestes las 3 preguntas a continuación relacionadas con el texto. Okay, so the examiner will ask you to answer the 3 questions that continue in relationship with the text. So if I'm going to read the first text, it says, hoy día hay más gente soltera y sin compromiso, y se celebran menos matrimonios. Okay. La media, so I would highlight these words and make notes. La media de matrimonios anuales en Europa es de 4 por cada 1000 habitantes, cuando en 1990 el número era de 6 por 1000 habitantes. Esto se nota aún más en España, donde hoy se celebra la mitad de matrimonios que hace 25 años. So the first question says, ¿qué importancia tiene el matrimonio hoy en día en los países hispanohablantes? So you want really to refer to the text. So you could say things like, según el texto, hoy en día el matrimonio no es tan importante como en pasado. So you want to rephrase what the text says. El matrimonio ya no tiene la misma importancia que en el pasado. Give examples. Por ejemplo, sabemos que hoy en día solo se casan 4 personas cada 1000, mientras que en el pasado, en los 90s, eran 6 personas para 1000 habitantes que se casaban. So make sure that you showcase that you have understood what the text says. Algunas parejas, ¿por qué prefieren no casarse? Why do people prefer not to get married? And again, you could come back to some of those answers. Let's see. So, algunas parejas, por ejemplo, prefieren la convivencia. Tienen miedo a divorciar. For instance, you could talk about, is it too expensive? Is it old-fashioned? What is your opinion? Will you get married in the future? Or do you think that is not relevant? En tu opinión, ¿hay ventajas de casarse? So what is your opinion? Do you think there is advantages in getting married? For instance, it could be the custody of kids, or you could, if you may believe that there is advantages, you may believe that there is not many advantages, but make sure that you showcase that you do know you're aware of different points of view. Another card in here that gives, so these are the instructions. Again, familiarize yourselves with those. If you're unsure, refer again to the WJC website for the adaptations. In the second text in here is sobre la emancipación de los jóvenes españoles. So what are the key points in the emancipation, in the independencia de los jóvenes españoles? What are the trends? To read the text, make sure you understand. La independencia ocurre más tarde en España, donde casi un 40% de los jóvenes de 25 a 34 años sigue viviendo con sus padres. So young people tend to live with their parents. Why is that? It's more is later in Spain compared maybe to other countries in the world or in the Spanish-speaking countries. El hogar familiar ofrece protección y seguridad, advantages of being living with the family and el hogar familiar. Y los jóvenes se benefician de una armonía generacional especial. Independizarse significa renunciar al nivel de bienestar alcanzado por su propia familia. So, understanding the text is vital to answer these key this first question. ¿Por qué resulta tan importante la familia para los jóvenes españoles? Why is so important the family for young Spanish people? Let's have a look at a few more cards just briefly. So we look at the topics. Again, in this one you got el siguiente texto sobre las redes sociales. Do the same thing, and again you can refer to the resources. There is one that should be on so if we look at this one, education, employment, okay, and the other one that could have some information, your friends, issues, and personal identity. So you got some questions here to prepare, and some vocabulary. So el móvil, el portátil, conectarse, el usuario. So make sure that you use those ones. Which ones are you using? El internauta, el perfil, el acoso, la agresión verbal, so problems, for instance, las redes sociales, problems de las redes sociales could be el acoso o la agresión verbal, so with cyberbullying and so on. So make sure you use those mind maps and create your own. What are the advantages and disadvantages of using social networks? Are young people addicted to social networks? What are the riesgos? What are the problems, the myriads of using social networks? If you to prepare, again, make sure you create mind maps, flashcards, for instance, on the topic. So again, ¿para qué usan Internet los jóvenes españoles? What young people use Internet for? How has the technology changed? Or how has it changed people's lives? Especially now in the light of the pandemic, this is a very hot topic. So how has it changed your life, your young people in this country? So how do you think, or have you read anything about how has this affected, the new technology affect life of Spanish young people? So make sure you take some time to develop an answer for each one of those ones. So carry on from different possible questions that could arise. So you got another one sobre las tendencias. So los jóvenes españoles gastan más dinero de los que ganas. Do young people waste more money than what they earn? Is this true? Is it false? Give your own reasons. What do they, if they do, what do they waste it in? According to the test, la mayoría de los adolescentes lo gasta en ropa, alimentación, nuevas tecnologías y las fiestas. So young people spend their money in food, clothes, new technologies, and parties. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What is your opinion? Is it acceptable, as acceptable, or not acceptable? Let's have a look at the very last one. So about employment. Do young people work part-time? Why do they work part-time? What are the benefits? What are the disadvantages of working part-time for young people? And are young people exploited? What should the government do about it? Again, make sure that you refer to the resources. There are some more about education and employment opportunities that will give you more support to develop. I believe